So colleagues, I believe we're ready to get started. So I would ask for a motion to reconvene and open. Moved by Karen Schnarr, seconded by Sandy Shantz. All those in favor? That is carried. We acknowledge that the land on which we gather today is the traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee, the Anishinaabeg, and the Neutral people. We acknowledge the enduring presence of the Indigenous people with whom we share this land today, their achievements and their contributions to our community. We offer this acknowledgement as an act of reconciliation between Indigenous and non-Indigenous peoples of Canada. Colleagues, are there any declarations of pecuniary interest? Seeing none, do we have any recommendations out of closed? We have no recommendations coming out of closed, sorry. The consent agenda is before you, colleagues. It is 7.1 through to 7.5. Are there any agenda items that anyone would like to pull out for discussion? If not, I would entertain a motion to move all consent agenda items. Moved by Doug, seconded by Karen Quigley Hobbs. All those in favor? That is carried, colleagues. Is there any business arising from the minutes? Seeing none, there's no correspondence to be dealt with. Police services report. The first agenda item is 10.1, the 2023-153, and it is the 2024 board budget. And Chief, do you want to kick this one off?
Thanks, Sarah. I think we'll be turning this over to Megan Martin to discuss the board budget, or unless I'm mistaken. Yeah.
Just yes. Go ahead, Megan.
Thank you, Chair Redmond and Chief Kroll. The 2024 board budget is presented there in report 2023-153. There is a motion to approve the operating expenses as outlined, and there was a slight increase, a 2% increase over 2024 on one line, the information, promotion, and advertising line.
Thank you, Megan, and sorry about that, Chief. If I could have a mover and a seconder. Moved by Karen Schnarr, seconded by Sandy Shantz. All those in favor of approving the board budget as presented, thank you very much. That is carried. The next agenda item is Chief of Police reports. And first is board budget timelines. And Chief, do you want to kick this one off, or should we go right to Kirsten?
Sarah Redmond, yeah, very happy to invite Ms. Kirsten Hand, Director of Finance, to introduce this item. Thank you.
Good day. I will just share my screen. All right, so today we're going to talk about 2024 proposed budget timelines. The region has been speaking with council in regards to the overall budget timeline and plan for the overall budget process. And they are to forward on that information to the board. And when we received that information, we then started to create our internal WRPS budget schedule. And it's before you on the screen here. So we're anticipating to go to the board beginning at the October regular scheduled meeting with a draft budget for consideration and deliberation by the board. On November 15th, it is proposed that the board approve a budget for consideration to Regional Council. During the timeframe from October to November, there would be a process to allow for the public to provide input to the board in relation to the budget. As part of the region's schedule, they identified a presentation date for WRPS in front of Budget Committee. I do want to clarify that their schedule identified that it was to be a budget presentation. It is our WRPS proposal, not the region's, that it be a budget, approved budget for consideration to council. And then we have a regularly scheduled meeting on December 13th that would allow for further deliberations if required by the board in relation to the budget. And the region identified that they are proposing that the overall budget is approved on December 13th as well. We also looked at some preliminary operating budget information for 2024 to 2026. We looked at our base budget, factored in contractual agreements, known investments through a strategic business plan. And from an operating budget perspective, we are forecasting an increase of 6% in 2024 and 3% in 2025 and 2026. I will just note that this does not include any assessment growth factored in, and does not include FTE expansion or further program enhancements. And so once we know that information in relation to assessment growth, et cetera, then we can do calculations similar to what the region does from a net tax rate perspective. But right now, this is just purely operating budget increase year over year. If we were to assume 18 sworn staffing expansion in 2024, then that percentage in 2024 would increase to approximately 8%. So that provides you with a proposed budget timeline for consideration. Thank you.
Thank you, Kirsten. Are there any questions or comments from board members? Tony, go ahead.
Yeah, through you, Madam Chair. I appreciate the update in the timeline. I think my only comment would be is that there were some numbers around the potential increase for the budget being expected of about 6% or around 8%. I think those are just very, very preliminary numbers. We haven't really talked about it at the board level. So I don't want anyone hooking into those numbers and feeling that those are pegged potential increases yet, because we haven't, as a board, had the opportunity to really discuss, what we're looking forward to in the next year and how that will impact the budget. So
I assume that's more of a comment than a question, Tony.
yeah, thank you. Yeah, sorry, Madam Chair. You're absolutely.
Just a question about the December 13th date. Is that somewhat compressed with the services board looking to do some conversations perhaps on the same day as final approval from regional council?
Kirsten, you're quite familiar with this terrain. Can you maybe just take a stab at that one and just walk through sort of how the dates happen to align and how this might fit together?
Yeah, we've had a number of years where they align actually on the same day. What we did a bit different from this perspective is our November meeting would give the board the opportunity to approve a budget for consideration by council. So the December meeting would only be required if there is additional information that the board wanted to deliberate upon. Sorry, that's an unfortunate thing with phones. So actually, it actually provides us with a bit more flexibility than perhaps in previous years where the approval of the board only occurred at the December meeting versus backing it up a bit.
Okay, thanks for the clarification, Kirsten.
Thank you for your question, Sandy.
Thank you. Excuse me, just in light of some conversations that have happened about timing and input from region and regional colleagues, could you or Chief Kroll articulate how the region can make comments prior to this board making a final decision on the budget?
Sure. Thank you, Mayor Shantz. So we're still putting together what would be a modernized and board approved consultation process. So in every opportunity, members of the public can register to delegate at any of our meetings. It's not as a common frequent practice. And we know that in past years, members of the public have sought to provide that direct service-oriented feedback about the budget in the regional consultation processes. So looking to provide that opportunity moving forward, we will work with the board on providing probably a couple opportunities and publish those opportunities well in advance to allow people to provide direct input to the board, so you can hear priorities, questions, concerns, and priorities on behalf of members of the public. So we look forward to putting that together. In the report before you today, the timeline says roughly October, November, and based on some of the feedback and sort of zoning in here today, we can see that probably that consultation is best probably positioned in October to allow for thoughtful consideration, knowing that November 15th, things need to be finalized and the board needs sufficient time to think about things. I'll just also add that we will, during the course of the coming months, also be doing strategic planning, which will have community consultation as well. And that'll provide the board some clear parameters on expectations from the community that we serve. Yeah.
Thank you.
Karen Schnarr, I had you down and then your hand went down. Do you want to comment?
Tony raised the point I was going to make, saying these are, this is very preliminary and, the board hasn't had a conversation about that. And I would just echo very strongly Mayor Shantz's, question, not just more broadly, not just obviously, regional and city colleagues having an opportunity to contribute, but I take to heart, that's wonderful news from the chief about making sure there's opportunities for community members to come in and be directly involved in providing feedback on the budget as well. And it's fantastic to hear that there may be multiple opportunities. I would suggest, because I know we've had that suggestion before, that, people work during the day. So perhaps if there's an evening opportunity for people to come in and do that. And I hear that flexibility in what you're talking about. So I think that's a great idea. And I commend the area for thinking already proactively about this.
Great. So thank you. Oh, Tony, go ahead.
Sorry, Madam Chair. Thank you. Through you. I just wanted to clarify that the inputs that we will be seeking, or the services seeking, is not really on the budget. It's on the priorities or the services being provided to the community. Correct? That's.
I can respond just to say that we'll ensure that that we receive clear direction from the board in terms of how they want the framing to exist. I think one point of dialogue I always like to mention is so much of our work and so much of the investments and what it takes to run a police service is legislated, parameters or their priorities that are already they exist in legislation for us to provide on behalf of the community. So I think the framing of it will be important, and we'll seek the board's direction on exactly what that opportunity will be to shape priorities for the board.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. I see no further. This is for information and go forward. And I too would just really like to commend the opportunity for very deliberate public input into the budget process and the priorities. I think that is really important. And certainly in my tenure at WRPS as a board member, we have had delegations, but I think interestingly enough, as much as Zoom made life easier for a lot of people, I think that's when we stopped seeing delegations come directly to this board, both always on the budget, but on other issues from time to time too. So that's good to see. So thank you for that. And thank you, Kirsten, as always, for your great work. And the next agenda item is WRPS 2021-2023 Strategic Business Plan Progress Report. And Chief, do you want to kick this off, or we'll go right to Dr. Williams?
Very happy to welcome Mandy Williams from our Strategic Services unit. Also, we'll be welcoming today Kelsey Gilmore and Amanda Francescini, who are on call to walk us through an overview of where we are for the 2021 to 2023 Strategic Business Plan, and also a short preview on moving forward. So I'll leave it over to Kelsey. Yeah.
Okay, so I just have to share my screen here. Sorry, bear with me here.
It's always that moment where everybody holds their breath. Will this work? All right.
There we go.
Looks good from your end, I'm hearing.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So Chair Redmond and members of the board, thank you for having me here to present on this today. Today I'll be talking about the 2021-2023 Strategic Business Plan and where our progress lies in terms of year 3 of that plan. So you'll recall our Strategic Business Plan is mapped into 5 pillars, those being collaboration, innovation, operational excellence, people, and trust. And within each of these pillars, we have 20 different goals, which the service hopes to achieve over that 3-year period. Each goal has been assigned to a goal champion, and that goal champion oversees persons accountable for completing those different objectives. Within each of these goals, these objectives, they're really just projects, or some of them larger than others, that when completed help to fulfill our larger goal and our larger pillar. So at current, the Strategic Business Plan has 84 objectives, 53 of which are completed and they've been marked complete, and 31 that we hope to achieve by the end of this year. If you're looking for a percentage, that equates to about 63% completion rate currently. So we can also take a look at each of these pillars and what that progress looks like over those 5 pillars. You can see collaboration has been completed in its entirety. Some of the other ones range or vary in how much has been completed, but I can say that all of them are very close to completion. If I can actually share a little bit more about the goals specifically. So of the 20 overall goals, the service has fully completed 5. That number looks small, but I can tell you a lot of these are very close to completion. So really what we're doing is we're taking this complex topic or goal and we're dividing it into several different mini projects. So as you can guess, it takes a lot of people and a lot of work to get those goals completed. So I just wanted to share on one of our successes. During community consultation a few years ago, the community told us that one specific area that stood out to them was goal number 9, which was looking at reducing incidents and supporting victims of intimate partner violence, sexual assault, and human trafficking. And so as a service, we had the flexibility to determine how to tackle this goal, and we chose to break it up into 4 different objectives that when completed, fulfill the goal and ultimately would increase our operational excellence. So just to give you an idea of how complex some of these goals can be, I wanted to share a couple of those successes that came out of that goal. The first success being that our WRPS Intimate Partner Violence team was able to team up with community partners and launch a pilot project, which was tackling incidents of intimate partner violence disputes that hadn't actually resulted in criminal charges yet. So some preliminary results demonstrated not only a reduction in recidivism rates, but also in calls for service for those individuals who received intervention. Another success coming out of that goal is our Special Victims Unit, who provided several presentations and outreach to a variety of audiences within our community, all of which received very positive feedback. We've seen criminal charges increase substantially and successful prosecutions which have occurred as a result of our coordinated response between police and Crown prosecutors. The third success coming out of that was the work with our sexual assault task force. Specifically, our sexual violence unit was able to implement several recommendations involving training, case management, and communication, leading to improved service delivery for victims. And finally, our joint health human trafficking team extended their partnerships and liaised on several human trafficking investigations undertaken by other police services throughout Ontario, resulting in improved service and services to victims and survivors of human trafficking. So you can see that these are 4 units within our service that all had to lead very complex projects to fulfill that one goal. So 63% might look small, but we're confident we're making big progress here. So at this point, I just want to recognize that we have had several successes. So in fact, 53 objectives have been marked complete. And that actually mirrors our success rate of our previous strategic plan. So no doubt we will surpass the completion rate of our previous strategic plan. Our members are able to action the pillars in addition to their regular roles and responsibilities. So these are things they do in addition to their current jobs. So even if legislated, we have tried new ways of achieving these standards, all of which lead to profound positive changes in our relationship with our members and our larger community. And a lot has changed since 2020. So the way we do things as an organization have changed, and we've made several different improvements. So moving forward, we have 31 objectives that remain in progress. And while we only have 6 months to complete it, we are very confident that we will complete them or get very close to completing. So as a service, we'll continue to do the great work we do to achieve these goals and advance our larger pillars, while we also work to develop our next strategic business plan. And we look forward to providing you with a complete 3-year picture at year end. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Really concise and great progress made. I don't know, Chief, do you want to, any additional comments, or Amanda?
Other than just thanks, Kelsey, for the presentation today and all the work of Strategic Services to keep us aligned. I know that in previous presentations and updates to the board, there was some concern about just the effectiveness and the progress to date. So we certainly had acknowledged previously that a lot of the finalization of priorities and goals and objectives was to come in the latter stages of the 3rd year, and we're seeing that come to fruition. So there will be a final wrap up later this year as the plan comes to a close, and we look to create the new one, and some transition items I expect. But just proud of the team and proud of the work that's done, and certainly look forward to us carrying forward to a new version of the plan as well. So thank you.
And as I reflect on going forward with our new strategic business plan, I don't think it escapes anyone how ambitious the last one was. So the fact that we have made this much progress in a relatively short period of time as we came out of COVID is nothing short of, I think, a testament to the commitment of making these better results and progress possible. So really a shout out to all of the teams and the leaders within the organization that made sure they kept moving forward. So thank you very much for that. Next, we have monthly Chief of Police report.
And so I think we've enjoyed a smaller presentation to date this month. So just as I present my screen here, very proud of the work that has been ongoing. So it wasn't long ago since we had our last board meeting and provided Chief of Police report, but I can walk you through some of the major events and undertakings service-wide. So as everyone is aware, at the end of June, WRPS responded to a very dynamic, high-profile stabbing incident at the University of Waterloo that involved 3 individuals who sustained serious but non-life-threatening injuries. I just want to highlight the work of our frontline responders, our emergency response team, and then the subsequent investigators that carried on this high-profile investigation, which became one of global interest because it was determined that this incident was hate-motivated with respect to gender identity and gender expression. And certainly, this was an alignment not only of our commitment to professional excellence and how we respond to such incidents from an investigative and a frontline response standpoint, but also in alignment with our values as a service and our commitment to ensuring that our commitment to hate crimes and hate incidents is robust and within focus and with alignment with values of members across our community. So as this event continues to evolve, through the criminal justice system, we know that will be a focal point, but just want to give a shout out to our members, but also the partnership and the leadership of many across our community, including Chair Redmond, who spoke on the day after, and immediate availability, as well as our partners at the University of Waterloo, who continue to work through this issue with great attention to the future. Also want to highlight that there were two shooting incidents that occurred at the end of June as well in Cambridge area, one on Lena Crescent and Allison Avenue, the other one as well on Allison Avenue. One resulted in the discharging of several rounds within a residence in a parking lot. The second incident occurred, resulted in one male sustaining non-life-threatening injuries from a gunshot. This brings us to a total of 9 shootings within the region of Waterloo. So again, very good work in terms of our emergency response. The challenges of these follow-up investigations are significant, and we're seeking to bring as much closure and safety to the community as possible. Our commitment to road safety continues as the roads get busier in some ways throughout the months of summer. We are committed through our traffic enforcement unit as well as our frontline officers who are out there every day. So through the month of June, we had some significant enforcement activities. So 42 stunt driving charges were laid, impaired driving charges, 85, 31 dangerous driving charges, and then almost 350 speeding charges. So our commitment to road safety is robust and very focused as we look to reduce serious injury collisions and also fatal collisions and align our roads to be as safe as possible. We know this is a significant concern of our public. We know there's areas in the community that do require further visibility, further strategies, further projects, and we are committed to doing that work and proud of the frontline operations that are focusing on the Fatal 4 in particular. Moving to some community events and engagements, some of the signature events have come and gone. So the KW Multicultural Festival was a 2-day event, probably the biggest that we've ever seen, and just an incredible engagement opportunity for our members. We also celebrated from dawn till dusk various Canada Day celebrations across the region, and a couple community barbecues. That season is really starting in full force now. So we joined the Somali Canadian Association of Waterloo Region recently, as well as the Coalition of Muslim Women. So it is that season where we do really enjoy being with the public and engaging at so many of those events. And we look forward to all that good cheer and sharing moving forward. We're very proud to welcome 2 new members of our service, 2 new canine members to our team after a 16-week training program. The newest members, Milo and River, will be joining us. River, the name came from a community contest to help name the new canine member, as well as Nico came from the engagement at Monsignor Doyle Catholic Secondary School, where that school participated in building of some of our canine facilities and obstacles, and also a naming from their student population. So look forward to the new members hitting the road soon with our emergency response team and canine unit. And lastly, really probably our most signature outreach event is launching the Backpack Challenge. So we're so proud to launch the 6th annual Backpack Challenge. This is an incredible engagement and community rallying opportunity for our service as we encourage residents to join us in trying to bring back some style and some resources to those in need across our community. To date, we've raised through the course of the 6 years over 10,000 backpacks and really thousands of school supplies and money related to school supplies for serving those across the community. So we do welcome all those to join us in making donations to directly to any of our divisions. We also are engaged with various community groups and organizations across the region of Waterloo in providing some of the facilitated pickup and so on. So we know this is a proud moment for our organization and the board as well, because it's a great outreach opportunity for us. And we're so thankful for all those who have contributed to this point. And we'll look forward to a really healthy summer and rallying as many backpacks and resources as possible. So subject to questions, concerns, and comments, that ends my Chief of Police report for this month. Chair Ridman and members of the board, thanks so much for the opportunity.
I think it's always really important that we highlight all the great work going on 24/7, 365 days a year. I guess I just would like to reflect for a moment on the outstanding work and collaboration when the horrible stabbing incident happened at the University of Waterloo. I think it was really important, and I think WRPS stepped up to say that we in solidarity stand against hate, and that was a really important message. The vigil was, I think, very meaningful to staff and to students that were able to sort of share their first-person experiences, and there were many. I would have to comment that I have talked to President Goel on a couple of occasions since that time, as recently as yesterday, and he couldn't say enough about WRPS and the relationship and the trust between. We have an officer embedded with the security at the University of Waterloo, and he felt that everyone was very well served. So in a moment of terrific and horrific need, which is often when WRPS members step up, I think we were there to handle a very volatile situation really quickly. So kudos to everybody, our partners, WRPS, and the community for stepping up and continuing to say that we will all stand against hate. It's insidious and something that has to be called out and dealt with. Doug.
Yes, just a comment. Just a comment on the study that came out that the Waterloo region metropolitan area is one of the top 10 safest areas in Canada. And I thought that was really that reverberates very well amongst the public, and I think we should be very proud of that, as we all are.
Thank you for that. I see no more comments. Is there any new business, colleagues? Any future business agenda items? Information items? Okay, I just for the media who have joined us via Zoom, if you'd like to stay on, I believe Chief Crowell and I will hang around to answer questions. I assume that all the questions will go to Chief Crowell, which is fine by me. And I think Sherry Greeno is going to take over. So thank you all very much. I would now entertain a motion to adjourn. Moved by